You're watching Sky News Tonight, our top stories this hour. Theresa May has insisted she still has full confidence in Boris Johnson, that despite the Foreign Secretary's attack on the government's Brexit negotiation strategy. The EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michel Barnier, has said the UK's proposal to avoid a hard Irish border raises more questions than it answers. And the US President, Donald Trump, has said he wants Russia to be part of the G7 group of industrialised nations. Well, let's stay with those comments from Donald Trump, shall we? Oliver McGee served as a Deputy Assistant Secretary in the Clinton administration, now a staunch supporter of President Trump, and he joins us now live from Texas. Oliver, very good to see you once again. Let's just deal with the Russia question once again. On his way to the G7 in Quebec, Donald Trump, seemingly unprompted, decides to ask the question, why is Russia there? Well, the answer is pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Yes, it is. What Donald Trump is involved with is I like to call it the China games, but also the Russian games. He's really trying to reset international strength and power of America. So what I was struck by when I saw him making his pronouncements as he's going to Marine One, he was saying we're interested in America's interests, but we're also interested in reshaping the world as well. This is a transformation from rules-based negotiations to interest-based mediation when we start looking at the G7 as he's trying to transform it into the G8. He's saying it's better to have Russia inside looking out instead of outside looking in, because this is all, like, as I've said to you before, Neil, when we spoke often, this is about global competitiveness, and that is part of the America First national security strategy. And I think it's a very good way for which Trump is trying to transform the world post-World War II, because we are in a different century right now, a faster century. And so he needs to be more sophisticated in how he's doing his negotiation practices alongside the mediation practices amongst G7, and now he's trying to push for G8.
Sure, Oliver, but doesn't there have to be a line in the sand drawn somewhere? I mean, the annexation of Crimea, continued involvement of Russian forces in the east of Ukraine, the kind of collective view of the intelligence communities that the Russian state had an involvement in the poisoning of Sergei Skripal here in the United Kingdom. I mean, any one of those things should surely be enough to remove their seat from an organisation, an institution like the G8.
Well, I think, Neil, that we're really trying to transform how the partners are to come together to look at some of the interests that are necessary to really secure the world, but also how to do better trade. Donald Trump is a little concerned about the deal that America has in free trade. I wrote a tweet that said if someone gives you $100, but you give them back $80, then that's not a fair trade. And so I think that's what he's really saying about America. We're giving people $100, but we're getting back 80. And the American people are with the president on this. They want to see that there's some type of rationality and balance on resetting how global trade is taking place right now, and how countries trade is how they do their diplomacy, and also how countries trade is how they invoke their power. And so this is really about how he's going to wrestle with Mexico, Canada, the EU, and now he's trying to look very careful to see how Russia's going to play in that game alongside China, because like I said to you before, China's eating our lunch and they're coming back for seconds.
Indeed. Oliver, I'm so sorry, we're going to have to leave it there. Some problems with the line. But good to get you, good to get your views on things. Thanks for your time.